Hello everybody, this is D King Bay, your book granny here with the book review for you. Oh yeah, today I'm reviewing The Way of Edan by Philip Chase. I actually purchased my copy from The Broken Binding. At the time of recording, they did not have this in their shop, but I always say haunt, stalk, whatever you want to call it, the infirmary section of their store, because sometimes they might get an extra copy in. This is a special edition. I'll try to show you some pictures as I talk through the review. Okay, so let us get started. As always, this is a no spoiler zone. I don't do spoilers here. I love big quest and found family novels. Now, if you could throw in a heist in there, then you just going above and beyond. This book didn't have a heist in it, but it had two of my three faves. So this is a great epic fantasy. It's the first book in the trilogy, and I think it might be the author's debut novel. I'm not sure, but I think that I read somewhere that this is a debut novel. So he did a really amazing job. This is a very good start to an epic fantasy. A holy war has broken out. The Way of Edan. The folks who follow the Way of Edan, I call them a cult. They may not be a cult, but I call them a cult. They believe that everybody should follow the Way of Edan or die, pretty much. And they think they're actually saving people by following the Way of Edan, because the Way of Edan is the only way. Of course, because that's how it always works. Someone thinks that their way is the only way. So then we have Day Raven, who's the main character in the book. He's just I guess he's around 19 years old, and he lives in this small village, and his dad is a war hero, and he's just living his best life, being like a little farm boy, doing his little farm boy thing. Of course, his dad, since he was a war hero, of course, taught him how to, do the sword work and stuff like that. But something happens to him, and he finds out that he has this latent magical abilities. Not only are they latent, they stop being latent, they pop out on him, right? When he can't control it, they pop out. He doesn't want anything to do with this. So he tries to tamp it down. But the problem is, the folks who follow the Eden Way and some other big kahunas, shall we say, can sense his presence. They sense this power in the land. And of course, they all want this power on their side. So that's where the story starts. Now, even though these folks, they see it as oh wow, we got all this power, we need to harness it and use it. He sees this as a curse. Because, like I said, he's around 19 years old. He living his best life. He got a little girlfriend, him and his best friend. They just having a great time. And then this happens. So he has then he's trying to protect his family, of course, because everybody's after him. So he needs to go do what he needs to do. He got to figure out, okay, what I'm going to do with these powers. He want to get rid of these powers, but it's in him. He doesn't realize this, of course. So he's got to figure, okay, how do I get rid of this? Or do I join? If I join, what side do I join? Things like that. So it is a good quest. Now, along this quest, as he's going around figuring out who he is when he grows up, I guess you could say, the other characters come along in the book gradually, so that by the end of the book, you do have this whole family. Okay. Now, I'm not going to go through every character because, I don't do spoilers, but I will say that every character has a background, and the author took good time in developing each of the secondary characters, developing Day Raven's relationship with each character, because he has a different relationship with each one, how they treat each other, how they view each other, and things like that. So I do like that aspect. Now, I did enjoy this novel, but of course there are some things I liked and some things I didn't like. So let's parse out those parts now. Whenever I get news, I always want the bad news first. So let's talk about the parts I didn't like, the aspects I didn't like. Dave Raven, like I said, he's around 19 years old. And sometimes the decisions he make, I just want to strangle that boy, strangle him and just choke the life out of him. I know that sounds terrible, but I'm like, oh my God, he is working my last nerve. Oh my goodness. And granted, I'm 40 years older than him. You know what I'm saying? So I understand, but no, it was just sometimes I'm really, you can do better than that. But anyway, so we had that. But like I said, this is the first novel. He just got these new abilities. He doesn't know what's going on. He doesn't know to handle them. He hasn't really left home before. So he has a lot of new stuff coming at him. So, I see those points too. He has a lot of new stuff coming at him. And he's putting in these situations that he doesn't understand. He doesn't know what to do. So he is making the best he can, granted. There are some sucky decisions sometimes, but you know, I will say he is trying to do the best he can. Now, my second little issue with the book was Day Raven has his best friend. And this best friend was actually indentured servant. Well, he was a slave. He was a slave to his family. And him and his dad, oh, he's just like family. They're talking about the slave. Oh, he's just family, 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 family. Oh, he's just like family. He's just like family. But they didn't give him his freedom. He's just like family. So I guess they want their family enslaved. That's all I'm saying. They didn't give him his freedom until they needed him for something. Then all of a sudden, he gets his freedom. So, yeah, that math ain't mathing right there. That didn't quite work out for me. But this is the first book, so I'm going to hold off my judgment because maybe as the books progress, maybe Dave Raven will grow and realize, oh, wow, that was really jacked up. I'm calling you my best friend, but my family enslaved you, and I ain't even sorry about that mess. You know what I'm saying? So, like I say, he might grow, you know, mature more. We'll see. This is also, it's not really long. It's a good sized book. Let me see how many pages this thing is. Almost 500 pages. It's about 500 pages, which is on the border. I call a book that's over 500 pages. This is 490 something. On the border of being a BA book, a really big book. So, of course, since the author took a good amount of time to develop all these characters, sometimes it felt like it was just a day in the life. And I understand he's world building and letting you see all these things, but sometimes it really dragged. I'm like, okay, we've seen this part of his life. We don't need to see that again in a different scene. Does that make sense? But for the most part, there wasn't a lot of that. Don't get me wrong. But sometimes I'm like, okay, this is kind of dragging a little bit. This is dragging a little bit. Let's get moving. Let's move with this plot. And I will say also, now this isn't a bad thing. This is a good thing. There are other characters, secondary characters, and you're not always with Day Raven. So that gives you a good break from this. Okay, let's go on and switch to the good stuff. There are other characters, of course, besides a Day Raven, and they don't do the point of view fully from his point of view. So you get to see other lifestyles. Sometimes he's not around. It's good. There was a good mix and flow and going back and forth. You don't get confused with who is who. It was a good mix. I enjoyed that. I love a book where the author pulls you in completely. This had a good plot to it, but it also, the setting, the author explained it without explaining every blade of grass. I could see, hear, smell, taste everything, but I hate it when authors write literally everything. Oh, he passed this blade of grass, this blade of grass is this brand and da-da-da-da-da. We don't need all that. He had a good little, he found that happy medium where you can describe stuff without going over descriptive, you know what I'm saying? And I really like that because it made it very vivid in my mind. I will say, now this was on me, okay? So the beginning of the book, y'all know who follow me, I don't like graphic violence. I'm not into Quentin Tarantino. Give me that PG Cliff Notes version, right? So anyway, at the beginning of the book, there are some scenes that are kind of like rough, kind of violent for me. And, you know, and then the book goes on and it calms down of that violence. You just have like your regular, like, you know, sword fighting type stuff, you know, action, do some magic here, there, all that kind of stuff, right? But then the end comes. Y'all, I should have remembered that first scenes because he brought it back and you get that blow by blow. And don't get me wrong, it was good. I mean, it was very good. It was tasteful. But, you know, I don't like to read violence. But I read it anyway because it was good. And I wanted to see what was going to happen because it was also some part of character development. And it has bringing back a callback from something that happened at the beginning of the book. So, you know, I'm reading this and I was like, oh, wow. I mean, yeah, so I do want to say for those of you who don't really like the violence too much, for the most part, it is not got a lot of violence in it. At the end of the book, yeah, at the beginning and at the end is where the heavy violence is. And I usually skip it, but I didn't skip it this time. And I survived. So if I can survive it, you can survive it. It's a really good book. Pick it up. You know how you have slow burn romances? Well, I think of this book as a slow burn character development and slow burn world building because you get to learn what all the creatures are. You get to learn the magic system. You get to learn the characters, the secondary characters, what their background is. I mean, the author took the time to actually flush these things out so you don't have these one-dimensional characters. Even they're bad guys. Now, you don't get to see the bad guys past as much, okay? But you do get to see, okay, let's say you got this cult, which they do, but you get to see the different members of the cult, the different leadership. Not everybody's motivated by the same thing. Some you'll have that truly believe in the way of Edan, and they truly believe that if people don't go the way of Edan, they're doomed. So they really believe, I mean, they honestly, full chest believe that it's the right way. And they think that, okay, we have to kill you because you're not following this way. And it's worse if you don't follow the way. It's like hell. So it's better this way. You know what I'm saying? Let's just do this. And then you got those who, again, the bad guys in this book, I guess is considered the bad guys. Some are in it for profit. Some of them are in it to, okay, I'm just trying to get ahead. Some of them believe in Edan, but they don't have the faith that, okay, if we just believe and, they don't have that faith that it's actually going to work. So they try to push things in a direction to get the outcome they want because they don't have the faith they need. So I really like that contrast of the different types of villains because it's a cult, okay? It's that cult, okay? So I really like that contrast of the villains because you don't usually see that. You might see that one villain that's, he just, with the little mustache, twirly mustache. But usually you don't get in depth. Okay, this is from different angles of this of the villain. You just don't get it. I like the way that the author built the found family, because a lot of times when you get these found families, you just get all these people that are from different backgrounds and they're primary mushed together, and then they got to go on this quest. But they all get mushed together at the not very beginning, but early on in the book, okay? And then, the whole book, they're learning how to get along and things like that. Cool, fine, dandy. I like that. But this author, he took longer in actually building the full family. You might get someone here, quest. Then you get somebody here, quest. Then you get somebody here, quest. I really like the way he built it because he built the relationship between the main character and the family members, and you get to see each relationship building, and you also get to see how the family members relate to each other. Overall, I really enjoyed The Way of Edan. I'm looking forward to the second book. I'll probably Kindle it pretty soon. I will say that because it did have some violence in it, I had to go read a cozy mystery. No, it wasn't cozy mystery, a cozy fantasy after it. And I feel much better now that I got my mind straight again. I might hop back into The Way of Edan's second book. I did look, when I first started reading, I looked to see if it was in the library, and I couldn't find any libraries here. But you can also get it at big box stores and things like that. So, yeah, get a copy and check it out.